Yeah, this is a project that is quite different than what you've heard so far, and it's really designed to make an immediate impact in a very fast-moving and important area, which is mitigating the airborne transmissions of SARS-CoV-2 via face masks and having some real science-driven designs to offer to the public. And so my name is Jim Smith. I'm in the School of Physical Sciences, and we have a really truly interdisciplinary team here that includes Mike Kleinman, an environmental toxicologist in the School of Medicine, and Terry Sanger and his postdoc, Jonathan Realmuto, both of whom are in the School of Engineering and deal with pediatric neurological disorders and also how robotics can address some of the needs of these patients. And by the way, Terry is also Chief Science Officer at the Children's Hospital of Orange County. So we have a really excellent group put together for this. And so we're here to address two challenges. One is that the science, which is again very rapidly moving, is suggesting that this SARS-CoV-2 could be spread by both droplets and, perhaps more importantly, smaller suspended aerosol particles that haven't in the last weeks haven't really received as much attention. And so this diagram here that you see shows the different means of transmission of the virus. There's these larger particles that do not tend to go quite as far. And then these aerosol particles that can remain suspended in the atmosphere for long periods of time. And up until recently, we've really been focusing a lot on coughing and sneezing as various means for transmitting these. But there has been some very recent studies published in the New England Journal of Medicine that suggest that even saying the words "stay healthy" can actually cause all sorts of particles to be emitted from the mouth. Particularly, I guess the letter H is particularly problematic. And this is an image here from laser light scattering from particles emitted from a patient who repeatedly said the word "stay healthy." So clearly there are lots of potential, and I want to emphasize the word potential. We're really focusing on trying to protect people from the largest array of particles and droplets that could be potentially important. And this is, in fact, an area, like I say, of very rapid progress. There's lots of media attention in this area. This article from The Atlantic says, how the coronavirus travels through air has become one of the most divisive debates in this pandemic. And I guess I'm contributing to this. This is a title of an open letter that is soon to be submitted to Nature, the title of which is "It's Time to Address Airborne Transmission of COVID-19." Okay, and then the other challenge that we're trying to address is just the public's general lack of information and confusion about masks and what is needed really to be effective in various situations. And so I just selected a few headlines here. What is the best material for masks? Should young children wear masks? There are so many different guidelines. Why are there so many different guidelines, et cetera? And so we've put together our team here, we call the UCI Face Mask Project, with really two main goals. One of which is sort of an educational goal, but it involves some real data analysis and data acquisition, which is to provide guidance to both the public and healthcare workers on the effectiveness of different do-it-yourself mask designs, and in particular, the material and sort of hybrid or sort of unique ideas of combining different materials and different mask designs. And then the second goal is to develop mask designs ourselves that are supported by our measurements in order to rapidly meet the demands of public and healthcare workers. And so we've already hit the ground running on this project. We've developed a test facility in my laboratory here in Rowland Hall at UCI. It basically has, we are generating particles of various sizes using sodium chloride as our model particles. And then we have a mannequin head that is equipped with breathing tubes that we can use to model masks, as well as filter holders to actually do just direct studies on mask material. And so here's a picture of our mannequin head, and of course we have also decorated it with our "In Fauci We Trust" chemistry inspired sticker there. Just wanted to point that out. Okay, so with this, we've actually, like I said, already started on a few activities. We've developed a website, which is receiving quite a bit of attention. I've been on social media trying to publicize this as much as possible, and I'm getting a lot of good feedback from all around the world. We include information on mass design and different data that we obtain various mass materials and then share with the public our mass designs. We are particularly really excited about one of our first mass designs, which is a sew-free, so no stitching required, or what we call the origami mask, which is made from a disposable shop towel, or we're looking at, for example, unwoven unwoven shopping bags that are commonly used that have very similar filtration properties. And this is a plot here obtained in our lab of filtration efficiency versus diameter. And you see that just initial tests, that this shop towel mask is about 60 to 70% efficient at removing particles in the really tricky size range of about 200 to 300 nanometers. And so we're going to continue to iterate on this, but it seems like this design's working pretty well. And so just to conclude, our future plans in this project, now that we've obtained funding, we're going to expand, for example, our development of our webpage as a resource for the public on both face mask performance and its proper use. We're going to continue to develop two types of masks. One is a disposable mask, like I showed you in the previous slide, for public use at home. And another is a reusable washable mask. We're currently that could be used in clinics, can be cleaned, and we're currently investigating a neoprene-based multi-layer design. And then finally, to improve our in-house testing, we'll use our funding to obtain rental of NIOSH certified testing methods, and we just want to make sure that our measurements coincide with them. We're certain they do. We have very much similar protocols, and we're very aware of their protocols. We like to extend our size range to super micron particles and droplets. So right now we're cut off at about a micron. And then finally, we want to study performance of these face masks, both inhaled and exhaled, using both inhaled and exhaled aerosol particles. So that is it, and be happy to answer any questions if anybody has.
Jim?
Okay. If Dick Kwan, could you go ahead and start if we stop sharing now for the screen, and Dick Kwan, if you get yours loaded, let's go ahead with questions then.
Yes, Jim.
I have a question for Jim. This is Mike.
Yep.
Jim, you know, you're measuring droplet size, which is fine. Do you have any plans to actually measure virus or to measure anything of that size? You could do it easily by labeling some virus or by labeling particles the right size, because, you know, there is probably a lower limit to how small a particle can effectively carry a viable virus and remain viable for the rigors of exposure to room air, for example, which can be very dry, and you know, there are a lot more than just the distance a particle travels, you know, that you have to consider.
Yeah, so the approach that we've made in this project has really been the approach used to develop masks in general, and this includes N95 masks as well. Now, the whole issue of what the most important size range is, and how the mask that we develop may respond in that range of sizes is something that I think we'd welcome collaborations in. But
Jim?
Yeah.
Quick question. Would it be possible to take an individual and use a stable isotopic label like deuterium or oxygen 18, and then actually know what the results of an individual spread were by then looking at the expression of the stable isotope in the droplet?
So you're talking about exhaled, like an exhaled aerosol, and trying to look perhaps in a setting of a larger room or chamber.
Right.
Yeah, that actually is really interesting. What we're going to focus on initially is create in our chamber a steady state condition where exhaled particles will go through a mask or not through a mask and be able to at least characterize the efficiency with which masks protect from exhaled aerosol particles. But then the question of spread over a larger area could be addressed by something like, for example, isotopically labeling particles.